Hey and welcome. I'm so glad you're here. If you're a new digital artist or just someone that's looking for some extra tips, this video is for you. I'm going to first teach you how to use your digital tablet. Maybe talk even about what a digital tablet is if you're contemplating getting into digital art, and then talk you through some of the software. And in this case, we're going to be talking about Artrage 6, which is a painting software for those of you that are maybe more familiar with traditional painting. It's an amazing piece of software that really feels and works and behaves like real paint. So I think you'll like it. I think you're gonna love this hobby. You're not here for a pep talk because you're already here and you probably already have a tablet, so let's get right to it. But I do want to say that digital painting has been one of the most fulfilling, rewarding, captivating, and affordable hobbies I've ever had, by far. I think my overall expense on digital painting is something like $200, and that's, multiple tablets, multiple pieces of software over a period of time, and that's incredibly cheap. For any of you guys that play a sport, you'll spend $200 in gear for just one season easily. If you go skiing, your ski pass is more than that, and that's just for 1 year. I'm talking a lifetime expenses here for super cheap. So how to digital paint? I think the first thing we need to start with is talking about the tablet. The tablet is a really cool and really simple thing. It's just basically a slab of plastic, and it's kind of a rectangle in most cases, sometimes a square, and it has a pen, and that pen will translate the marks that you put on the tablet to what you see on your computer screen. So typically the computer, if you're using like a desktop, you'll plug the tablet into the desktop, and then the desktop into the monitor, and what is drawn here will translate to what's drawn here. And just a couple of things about that. If you're drawing in the top corner of your tablet, that will translate to the top corner of your screen. And if you're drawing in the bottom corner, that's the bottom corner. If you're drawing in the middle, it's going to draw in the middle. And that's how a tablet works. It's more of a one-to-one map of what you see on the screen. And if you understand that, then you're going to understand how this works, and it's going to be really easy for you to do. Unlike a mouse, where you can pick up the mouse and you drag it to the corner to get to the corner, the tablet doesn't work like that. The map is an absolute rendering of what you see on the screen. So if you understand that, then you'll be in good shape. One other thing I want you to note is, like, let's say you wanted to draw a face, right? Now you don't want to have the eyes connected to the mouth, connected to the head, and have like one continuous line unless you're doing contour or something. But in the case of a tablet, if you can see right here in my demonstration, you can see that the pen is hovering and it tracks on the screen. So it hover tracks, and then when you want to make a mark, you just push down, and you can see that the nib at the end of the pen moves in and out, that there's a slight depression there, and that's calculating, that pressure is translated into a pressure calculation, which determines the thickness of the stroke. So stroke thickness is not just a function of brush size, but it's also a function of pressure. So that's how that works with any decent painting software is going to have pressure sensitivity built into its tools. And that's kind of just the basics of a tablet. So you have hover tracking, and then you have pressure sensitivity. And then on nicer tablets, you have something that calculates tilt as well. So when you're calculating tilt, it will change the angle of the brush, and then that angle change or shift or rotation will translate into a different mark that you see on the screen. So that said, I think that's kind of the basics. Here you can see some of the ways that the marks work with different pressures and direction and tilt. So that's pretty cool. Now that you kind of have the basics of the tablet, let's talk about software. In this case, with Artrage 6, it's kind of the easiest software that you can use, and it's one of the reasons I love using it with my students, is because it's so simple. But even when using a simple software, you still need to think about giving yourself some time to acclimate. So here are a couple of things that I do when I open up software. I pick a tool, and in this case, I'm picking the oil brush. And then what I'll do is I will literally just play tic-tac-toe with myself. And the point is to practice. The point is to just practice drawing straight lines and circles, and and that whole concept is just difficult in the beginning, because you're so used to looking at your paper when you draw, as opposed to looking at your hand when you draw. Because right now you're going to be holding a stylus, and that's how you're going to be doing the illustrations, right? And that stylus is going to be translating that mark to your computer, but you're not going to be looking at your hand. And even though you're drawing here, the mark is actually going to be appearing on the screen, and that's what you want to focus on. Your eye is going to be up here. And while you're getting used to that, and while you're not looking at your hand, you just need to remember that when you use a computer mouse, if you guys use a mouse or a touchpad or whatever for whatever kind of computing device you have, if you use a mouse, you might be holding that mouse, but you're not looking at it while you draw or click as a pointing device. So it should be pretty easy to get used to, but I would give yourself literally a couple hours. A couple other things I would try. Tic-tac-toe is great, like I said. I would draw some basic shapes. I would try drawing like all of your basic primitive shapes. Drawing like squares, circles, triangles. Try drawing squiggly lines that are vertical, squiggly lines that are horizontal. Try drawing all manner of things. If you have a favorite thing that you're like is kind of like your go-to, you're like, yeah, I always draw this when I'm doodling or whatever, just some little cartoon character with really big ears, whatever it is, draw that. And it might look weird. You might say, oh, no, thank you. I don't like that. I could do it better in pencil. But give yourself a moment for it to adjust, because you'll find that certainly you probably can do it better with a pencil initially, because that's what you're used to, right? But the longer you draw, the more powerful and beautiful your work will become. And I would guess it would take a couple days of just trial and error, exploration, trying a couple paintings, playing with different tools and tool settings, and check out other YouTube videos by me or other people. There's an amazing amount of stuff online for this, so that you can say, try different tools, try different techniques and approaches, and eventually you'll find something that really works for you. But I promise you that this is every bit as functional, fun, effective, impactful as traditional painting. It's just a lot cheaper, it's a lot less toxic, and it's a lot easier to manage, especially for those of us with laptops. You can just paint anywhere and you'll never ever be bored again. Well, let's just clear this layer here, and the Artrage has a nice function for clearing the layer. And another thing I would say, you can just write your name, and write sentences. Practice things that are basic, and practice things that are, don't take any thought. I wouldn't say go straight into doing portraiture, but rather just play around with writing and basic shapes and geometry and like basic things, and the idea of trying it with one tool, and then getting into another tool, and then getting into another tool, and just kind of seeing what works. In Artrage, you can drag your stylus across the screen to change your brush size, for example. You can try shading with one tool and painting with another, or doing your line work with one tool, and practice making all kinds of things happen. Part of the beginning of learning any new thing has to be play. And Artrage is really good for those of us that like to play. Now, for example, look at that color mixing. Firstly, does that not look like a real bristle brush mark of acrylic or oil paint on a canvas? It does. It looks so good. Secondly, those marks are interacting in realistic ways, and the media is interacting in a realistic way. And for this and all the other reasons that I haven't even told you about, you've got to start digital painting, and you've got to try digital painting in Artrage. For my setup, I use an XP pen, and it's the XP pen Deco. So this is my tablet, but in the past I've had Wacom, Intuos, and I've had Intuos Pro, and I've had older models that don't even exist yet. I often used the Dell Canvas, and so on and so on. And I've had a Lenovo what is it? Lenovo Yoga. It's like a tablet, or it's like a laptop that has an active pen enabled screen, so you can draw on the Yoga just like you can here. I have pretty much anything that has a stylus I've tried. And so what you need to get started is whatever works for you. For me, this one was like $69, and that's why I picked it, because it has tilt and it's awesome and it's super affordable. And I think the one I have is the 01 version 2. So that's the specific model. And then what I'm painting in today is Artrage 6. And Artrage 6 is just a great natural media simulation tool. It's really got a specific focus, and it's incredibly good at fulfilling that focus, or meeting that goal of being like a wet media painting tool in a digital workspace. So guys, that's it for our first day on the job. If it were me and I was just starting digital painting, I would do a lot of doodles. I would do a lot of writing. I would do a lot of scribbling. I would try mixing and matching all the different tools together and seeing what kind of messes you can make. And once you do that, I would go up to edit and then clear layer and just wipe it away and start over. Artrage has a bunch of really crazy tools. There's literally glitter. Like what, right? There's tools that take that glitter or whatever and they knock it down. There's all kinds of crazy stuff in Artrage. So if you just get into digital painting today and you're just trying to figure out your tablet, it's time to play. And play is the best way to learn. So go ahead and play, and I'll check in with you in the next video, and we'll actually go over some actual painting assistance. So, but before we get to any of that, just have some fun, okay? And I promise we'll have some fun along the way, but I really want you guys to, before you try to learn to make anything that's like, oh, I want to, sell this or put it in an art show, the first thing is to get comfortable with the tablet. The second thing is to just play with the tool. So please give that a try before you try and make anything awesome. All right, best wishes to you guys, and take care.